guys, coming at you today with a knockoff of one of my favorite treats when I was younger for the summertime, the drumstick ice cream cone. I kind of alluded to this in my pizzelle video because I made waffle cones with the pizzelle batter. So I already have those made. I'm going to show you what I do to kind of make a tiny version of a keto drumstick. So let's get started. So here I have my waffle cones already done up. I'm going to link my pizzelle video. It shows you exactly how to make these in that video. I bought this on Amazon to make these specifically. I think they're to make like the cupcake ice cream cone things, but I found they work perfectly for this. So I got this, and one broke, unfortunately. We're going to try and get it back together, and that'll be the one I eat. I think I can maybe glue it back together, because with this step, we're going to be coating the entire inside with some ganache. I already have my sweetened condensed milk out to make a batch of my no churn ice cream, which is going to be going in here also. And then I also already have ganache made. Oh, look, see, it sits up in there. So I have this ganache here. I'm going to reheat this on 50% power just until it's liquidy enough to put in these cones. Ganache is very simple. You take keto chocolate chips, 4 ounces will be plenty for this, and you heat up 4 ounces of heavy cream. And you only want it to like steaming, like just before boiling. You pour it right over your chocolate chips and let it sit covered, and then you whisk it all together and you get a nice smooth consistency. I'll link up a recipe card here that has ganache showing you exactly how to make it. But we're gonna put this in the microwave, 50% power, 10-second intervals. Don't want it too hot and runny, otherwise it'll take forever to cool, and we don't want it too runny to all run down to the bottom of these. You can skip this step if you make it fresh. Because it'll be probably the perfect consistency if you make it fresh. You can use any flavor chocolate you want. And it's almost melted already, so I don't want to go too much further. So I want it super thick still. Almost completely melted though. So a couple more seconds. There we go. Usually no lumps. I have some on my spatula I can add in. That will pull it down and make it a little bit thicker. Start with this broken one. Okay, so I started with where it was broken, and then I'm gonna go all the way around. The biggest thing with these waffle cones is you want to pinch the bottom so all the chocolate doesn't drip out. Then you get that perfect little hunk of chocolate at the bottom, like you love in the drumsticks. That's like the best part. So there you go. You see in there? Can't tell. It's dripping a tiny bit, but that's okay. You want to cover most of the waffle cone with chocolate. Let that sit there and harden while we do the rest. You can also do it, pour in some, then you can just that, and all the extra goes in the next one. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. Another technique you can use, paint it with your finger. Try not to get too much on the outside because people are going to be holding it. I might need to reheat this a little bit. So that was only 6 ounces of ganache. If you do 4 ounces of chocolate, 4 ounces of cream, you will have plenty of ganache. Okay, we put these in the fridge. Let them chill while we make the ice cream. Okay, now that that's done, we're making a single batch of my no churn ice cream. I'll link that up here for you. So it's only 300 grams, about 1.25 cups of heavy cream. We're gonna add to that, this is completely to taste on sweetness level. I'm adding 15 grams of powdered monkfruit erythritol. And a teaspoon of vanilla extract. You can also add vanilla stevia to this if you want. Whip this to soft peaks, and then we're going to stream in 1 small batch of the sweetened condensed milk recipe, my keto sweetened condensed milk recipe. I'll link that up there for you. I always just make a big batch and you can freeze it. So I don't see the point in making a small batch. And this has been sitting out at room temperature for a couple of hours to get the butter kind of melted in there. Be careful, you can't over whip this. I have done that. Give it a little scrape down, and then we're going to get into a piping bag. Because we're going to pipe this into our waffle cones. Now I'm going to put it into 2 separate bags. I got one with a tiny tip cut and one with a big tip cut. I'm going to use the little one to fill in the bottom, and then the big one, I want a nice round top on it. So always fold your bag over your hand, that way your hand doesn't get all dirty. Probably not going to need as much in the little guy. These aren't huge. You're probably going to have ice cream left over too. But why make a small batch when you can just freeze it and eat it like ice cream because it's delicious? Or you can make my ice cream sandwiches, or you can make a million other things I have with this ice cream recipe. My Snickers ice cream bars. We're going to have to keep refilling that guy probably. Let's get our waffle cones out. If you don't have this nifty little tray thing, I would just suggest using some like crumpled up tin foil on like a sheet tray and like make little divots like for it to kind of sit on its side. Like it doesn't have to sit up and down perfectly. It can probably sit like kind of on its side like that and it'll be fine. Or like you can probably use muffin tins and just set it on its side. I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of this into each one to start. Just to get it down on the bottom there. It's really hard to see with the shadow. Well, just know I'm going all the way down the bottom and pulling up a little bit bigger. There we go. We're gonna have plenty of ice cream left. Now to make the nice top. So you want it kind of like that. Plenty of ice cream in there. You want, you can do it really perfect and do like the squared off top and all that stuff too. I'm not gonna do that. Now depending on what chocolate and everything you use and what you use to dip it in and all that stuff, your macros are gonna change. But the way I made it, it was 2 net carbs per ice cream cone. Trying not to mess up the other ones or get them stuck together. A little bit more. Then we're gonna have to let these freeze solid because we don't want to dip half hard ice cream in chocolate. Looks good. Now you can smooth it out if you want, make it all perfect, but I'm not gonna worry about that. It's gonna look good and taste delicious. Into the freezer they go. So we had that much ice cream left over, so we probably only used a half a batch. You can keep this in the fridge and use it for something else after you get something made, like if you make my ice cream sandwiches or something like that, or cookies you can put in the middle of and throw them in the freezer. You can also just use this as a stabilized whipped cream for the top of a dessert, and it won't weep on you like other keto whipped creams will. So a couple different uses for this. You can also freeze it and thaw it again. I've done that also. So lots of uses. Don't throw it away. Time to get on to coating our drumsticks. So optional, these are about 2 carbs each. If you make 16 drumsticks, all this should be about the right amount for 16. I'm only doing 12. I'm gonna do 2 ounces peanuts. Peanuts are optional. I don't even think we're gonna need that many. We'll chop them all up and then we'll weigh how much we have left. Now on the coffee ice cream bars, I showed you how to make your own kind of keto chocolate using baker's chocolate and coconut oil and sweetener. For this one, I'm eventually going to come out with a chocolate video and do a whole spiel on it and what I've learned. But for this one, I'm going to do the other way I was making chocolate at the bakery, and that's with cocoa powder. You want to get a really good cocoa powder, coconut oil, and sweetener. Obviously, if you want to make milk chocolate, you would add some kind of heavy cream powder, like that, make it a lot sweeter. We're just going to do a kind of dark chocolate coating for the outside of these guys. The ice cream is pretty sweet, and the cone is really sweet, and then ganache. Now, you can use this recipe for the inside of the cone also, but you're going to want to wait for it to cool a lot because coconut oil takes a while to solidify, and you'll just be dripping chocolate all out the bottom of your cones. I would do the ganache for the inside, and then this chocolate for the outside. You just want a rough chop on those. We're going to do 120 grams coconut oil. Oop. It's about a half cup. 48 grams of cocoa powder. It's about a quarter cup. And then 22 grams of sweetener. Powdered monkfruit erythritol here. You can use a powdered stevia. I might try it and see if I want to add any more to it also. But we're going to put this in the microwave to melt. We're going to kind of stir first. Now you do not want this too hot because otherwise you're just going to have to wait for it to cool. And I did something stupid making more dishes for myself. I forgot to sift. You got to sift your ingredients into it because it just is lumpy if not. Now I got to sift all this. Get it more difficult on myself. Now, is this as good as using a Lily's or a Chalk Zero? Not at all. It's not going to make like really good chocolate bar. Is it good for coating a delicious ice cream bar? Sure. Definitely needs more sweetener though. I'm going to use a little bit of vanilla stevia. This is all to taste, but remember that when you freeze things, things are less sweet and less flavorful. So, keep that in mind. Tiny bit more. There's just cocoa powder, so it's pretty bitter. Let's get out our drumsticks. Now you can dunk the whole thing, you can dunk half of it, whatever you want to do. You can also like smooth out these guys. This is gonna be, I think this is the one that was broken. Yeah, this is the one that I'm gonna be eating. So that 84 degrees should be good for dipping. I like to do it at an angle just to get kind of like sideways thing done. And I do 2 dips, I think. Try not to hit them against each other because then it'll be all messed up. Let's go back and do this guy again, and we're gonna dip them in peanuts. We need to chop these up a tiny bit more. They're finer now. Let's do this guy. Maybe we'll just sprinkle them on like that. It's better. Learn with me. Last time I didn't do peanuts on them, so that's why. Make sure you shake off the excess. You want to have enough for all of them. There you go. You can really concentrate it then on the parts you want. There. That's good. I like it. I'm just gonna finish the rest of these up and then we're gonna try some. Finishing up the last two here. We have plenty of chocolate, plenty of peanuts. You'll have enough chocolate to do probably the inside of the cones. Or you can make up a little bit more for that. I like the ganache because it's kind of like a fudgy consistency in the bottom. So I'll figure out the macros with all this stuff for 16 of them, not just 12, because that'd be enough ganache, enough chocolate. Still got all of that left to do 16 double dipped. Should be fine. They are all done. So a little drippy out. If they start defrosting, they will leak out like ice cream. So we gotta get these back in the freezer and we'll be back to try them. Time to try our Nutty Buddy. So we had almost over half of the chocolate left from dipping these. We got all this down here. You know, put the original amount, but you're not going to use as much. So I wanted to get like an accurate reading on like how many carbs per drumstick it was. And if you use everything, like all this chocolate, all the peanuts, everything in the entire recipe, it'll be 4 net carbs per drumstick. But measuring out like exactly what we used for the 12, 3 net carbs each. So they look delicious. How am I going to eat this gracefully? I have no idea. What I used to do as a kid, take off all the chocolate first and lick the cone and then eat it. We haven't had dinner yet though. It's only 3 o'clock, so I probably shouldn't eat this whole thing. I gotta get into it. That looks like a Nutty Buddy, and it is delicious. Definitely a staple if ice cream man's coming down the street and you got kids and you want to feed them something a little bit better for them than what's coming through on that truck. I mean, it's not obviously as big as one. I think I saw one not too long after I made the first version of these, and I'm like, oh, these are so tiny compared to them, but you really don't need more than this for a snack. So I hope you guys enjoy this recipe and make it for yourself. Let me know in the comments below if you change it up or, you know, switch out some ingredients. You can make any flavors you want. You can add some peanut butter to the whipped cream. You can do all sorts of things. So let me know what you end up doing this summer with this recipe. Don't forget to check out my Amazon links and the blog link to the full recipe in the description box below. Thank you for subscribing. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And as always, I'll be back with more keto dessert recipes. Bye guys.